What's up, sneakerheads? Now, we have a new signature sneaker out there on the dark web. Not really, it's actually just the regular internet. I guess somebody, I don't know who this is, they posted a video on Twitter of KD in the gym, rehabbing, getting ready to get back out on the court, putting up a sweat. But if you look closely in this video, in case you missed it, right there, look, KD is actually wearing his next signature sneaker, the KD 13, in this video back in February. But since this video was posted, a lot more images of the upcoming silhouette have leaked online, giving us our best look at the KD 13 to date. And that gets me really excited because this shoe right here, the KD 12, was one of my favorite shoes to play basketball in. I mean, it was one of the best on-court performances from last season. And if you haven't picked up the KD 12 yet, guys, I highly suggest you do so. You can find them on sale pretty much anywhere you look, because this is one of the best performing shoes that I played in for a very long time. And mainly due to the fact that this had a full-length Air Zoom footbed or struggle board, whatever you want to call it. And that full-length Air Zoom under your foot was just absolutely killer, guys. I'm telling you, if you like Zoom, this is one of the best Zoom experiences on the market right now. However, with all that being said, what I'm seeing here from these leaked images of the KD 13, I gotta be honest, guys, it's not really doing it for me, at least visually. But the good news is that full-length Air Zoom footbed will be making a return to the KD 13, at least according to this leaked list of tech specs, but it will be returning with the twist. And that twist is, in the KD 12, we had double stack Zoom units in the heel, but in the KD 13, Nike is putting double stack Zoom units in the forefoot.
Wow.
Now look, I find this really interesting, guys, because if anything needed to be upgraded from the KD 12 to the KD 13, it wasn't the cushioning. I mean, I don't think anyone would be mad if Nike just took the same exact tooling from the KD 12, slapped it on the 13, and just reworked some things like maybe the materials, the upper, the look of the shoe overall. I think we would have all been happy with that. But Nike said, no, we're gonna take things to a whole other level here. We're gonna turn it up to 11, and we're gonna be putting that double stack Zoom tooling from the heel into the forefoot. Now, here's the rub, guys. I could see some people being a little concerned about this because putting two units in the front of the shoe, you're gonna lose some court feel. It might make the shoe sit pretty high, which based on looking at these photos, it looks like your foot is going to sit a little bit higher than the KD 12, but the KD 12 already had a very high sitting ride already, so it's gonna be elevated just a little bit more. But on the other hand, you could say double stack Zoom units in a forefoot is gonna be awesome, and it's gonna give you a very cloudy and explosive feeling. And maybe it might be similar to the large Air Zoom unit you could find in the Air Jordan 34, which, as you guys know, I absolutely adore. So for me personally, I am excited to see how these perform on the court. I mean, I'm always down to try new things, but there is a slight risk that we as consumers might feel like the KD 12, its predecessor, had a little bit of a better cushioning system, because if it ain't broke, you don't really need to fix it. But I do appreciate the slight innovation that Nike is taking here. But what I'm not appreciative of is these visuals. I mean, look at these things, guys. When I first saw these, the first sneaker that came to mind was the Air Max Dominate. I mean, they have very similar shapes. Look at the lacing system. There's a really straight angular design there. They just have a similar shape. And when you're comparing a budget team model to a top of the line signature sneaker, it's not the most flattering comparison. But you know what? If the shoe performs, the visuals don't really matter. But I do think it's safe to say that the KD 13 is a step back visually from the KD 12, because honestly, these were a pretty decent looking sneaker, and there was also some awesome colorways to go alongside with it. So in terms of off-court appeal, it's not really looking too good for the KD 13, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about these visually in the comment section below. Now, of course, as any sneaker goes, they look a lot better on foot, especially when they're on the hardwood. But overall, there's not much here visually that stands out to me, except for maybe the swoosh design. I do kind of dig the large, low-sitting swoosh that leaks onto the midsole and has this two-tone kind of look to it with the different material. But the rest of the shoe is just a little confusing. I mean, you got a marbled outsole clashing with a speckled midsole, And then you have this grandmama quilt looking upper that apparently, according to these tech specs, is soft, lightweight, and flexible. But what I found interesting was that there seems to be no sign of quad axle flywire like its predecessor has. I mean, right here on the KD12, you can see the quad axle flywire branding right there on the upper. But as far as I can tell from these photos, no sign of quad axle flywire anywhere on the upper. So while the materials may be soft and comfortable, in terms of cutting edge tech, the upper just looks like a basic textile material. However, there were some leaked images of the Nike by You version of the KD13 with a cool alternate graphic. So maybe the material and design will change from colorway to colorway, but as far as the retail pair goes, I'm assuming this black and white colorway is gonna be what Nike launches the KD13 with. The upper is a little uninspiring visually. Now, another thing that I'm noticing here, and I'm just a little concerned about, I know I talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, but the height of the midsole. These look like a very high sitting shoe, and with that double stack air zoom in the forefoot, I suspect that court feel is not going to be the KD13 strong suit. And I know a lot of people, including myself, are not fans of high riding shoes, so that might be a bit of a concern here. But when you take a look at the outsole, I mean, the traction pattern uses a circular design from heel to toe with some hot spots switching up the pattern with a variety of shapes and lines. But as a whole, the traction, it honestly doesn't look too promising. It's really gonna come down to the rubber compound because the pattern seems very spaced out, and from my eyes, it doesn't look that durable as well. So if the traction is going to be an issue and your foot sits really high on these, it could make for a very uneasy experience because high riding shoes already lack a little bit of support, and the upper of the KD13 doesn't look like it's really beefy anyways. And then when you couple that with bad traction, you're slipping and sliding everywhere with the high riding nature of the shoe itself. It just isn't the most secure feeling in the world. So hopefully the traction is going to be fire like it was with the KD12, but if I had to make a guess, if I had to bet my dog's life on the traction of the KD13, I would say it's gonna be average at best. Now, as far as the release date goes, according to Hypebeast, April 17th is when we should expect these to hit retail shelves, but a retail price has not been announced. However, considering the fact that there isn't really any new tech here, I mean, Nike technically just reworks some things by moving that double stack zoom setup towards the front of the shoe as opposed to having it in the heel. And you could even make the argument that Nike took tech away from us because apparently quad axle flywire is absent in the KD13. You could say that the KD13 should be cheaper than the KD12, but we all know how these companies work. That's probably not gonna happen. So I'd suspect that Nike is going to stick to the $150 price tag that its predecessor had. And to me, that's fair because 150 bucks, it's not premium, it's not cheap, it's somewhere right there in the middle. And when you're paying 150 bucks for one of the best encore performers that Nike has to offer, I think that's a fair price. So my guess would be $150 for the KD13. All right, so let me know, sneakerheads, what do you think about the KD13? Do you like them? Do you not? Will you cop? Will you not? Sound off in the comment section below. I'm going to be replying to every single comment. If you don't believe me, I dare you to drop a comment. I dare you to drop a like. I dare you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My name is Jaren. It's great having you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Man, I miss basketball. I'm gonna go play. Do you think it's worth it? Should I go play? Nah, can't risk it. No coronavirus for me. Hell no.